Most important because everybody at one point in their life or one time or another will face a mental health issue, be it their own or somebody they know. So for us to take advantage of getting as much knowledge and education and support that we can, I believe that is a good thing. Well, going along the lines of you can have hope during the storm, you, you know, you can compare it to a real storm or a hurricane. You know it's coming sometimes, and you can prepare. And when you prepare, you know it's probably, and you hope it's not as bad as you think it is. But when you have that time to prepare, you could make it easier or less stressful on you. And that's where that hope really comes in. Because you hope for the best and you plan for the worst. But with that hope, you get peace of mind.
Welcome to Revive Ministries Livestream. Today, this month, we're going to be talking about reflecting and healing through a storm. It's been 6 months since COVID-19 has really impacted our lives in the U.S. Much has happened since then, and now we are still in the thick of it. As we reflect on COVID-19 and its impact moving into the second half of the year, I am bringing some returning guests with me to share their own insight on the matter. Michael Jones is a friend and a colleague, and in regards to facilitating in the NAMI National Alliance for Mental Illness in the Volusia Flagler St. John's chapter in Florida. We're both current board members, and Michael is also a peer like myself, and I appreciate Michael agreeing to be a guest. I just want to welcome in Michael. Thank you for returning. And could you share with those watching, I don't assume they listen to my podcast, a little about yourself, Michael?
Well, it started for me when I was about 17, 18. That's when I had found, I was lucky enough to find the right medications and then, get the help that I needed at the time to try to become, able to stay in my recovery. And
Yes.
then in 2013, I found NAMI. And from there, I learned more, I grew, and I decided to take a bigger part in my own recovery and also in helping others with their recovery.
I think I started joining, coming to the group, 2017, 16, maybe late 16 or 2017. I
Beginning
don't
of
remember.
17.
I think it's 17. But anyway, before we begin, I always like to share a disclaimer for those who are struggling right now. If you are in crisis, please seek immediate medical attention. It doesn't say medical there, but immediate attention to your medical professionals. Um, there are always, you can always call 911, or you could call the national Lifeline hotline, and I will put it in the link of the description of the video after this live stream. But before, with that being said, I want to start off with a quote, like I always do, and this quote is from Nelson Mandela. It says, "Live life the live life as though nobody is watching. Express yourself as though everybody is listening." It's I find it kind of it's one of those things that I look at the quote, and for me, it reminds me of being very intentional and knowing what you really, why you do what you do. And I just want to bring it to you, Mike. What does this quote say to you, especially today as we reflect on the last 6 months?
Well, to me, it brings to mind that words have power.
Yes.
And when I say words have power, they affect not only your physical state, but also your mental state and your emotional state. And without a happy balance in all three, then it could be devastating to a person.
Yeah. I remember, especially during and before, how we see ourselves and others will shape how we see the world. Even today, as COVID-19 is still looming, this uncertainty is real. And you mentioned, well, when we're watching the video, hope was mentioned. And I feel like right now, some people maybe too concentrated on the facts, trying to control situations that they can't control. I know for me in recovery, Mike, just like you, there's certain things in life that you can't control. And for us, the uncertainty people in recovery have experienced in some way or another. Why do you think hope is so important, especially today, reflecting back? Mike.
Without hope, there really is nothing that drives a person. Because once a person gives up hope, then that leads to the feeling of powerlessness, like they feel like they're powerlessness.
Mm,
And when they get that feeling, they're basically dead. You could
yeah.
still be alive, but be dead inside. And if you're dead inside or just, struggle with basically waking up and doing day to day things, then you're just not there, and you're not really a benefit to yourself or to others anymore.
Yeah, and a lot of times, what I find when I feel when I was in that state, Michael, I remember you kind of minimize everything, and every single event, everything that happens becomes so either polarized. There's always highs, super highs, and super lows, and some of that is, obviously there's the mental health diagnosis of that, but besides that, there's also this when there's no purpose, there's no why in your life, there's no like drive to what to do the next day. If it's all about just you just have no hope, you're just always melancholy. I'm not minimizing those who are struggling today. I do encourage you to get help. The journey of recovery is a long one, and it's a lifetime. Mike, when it comes to this kind of subject of feeling like hopeless and feeling hope, I feel like it all stems from value and how you see yourself. I mentioned that before. If you don't value yourself or the people around you, you have this skewed view, and you only concern yourself with what you don't have. Doesn't bode well, especially during this COVID-19, especially what I've seen. So, Mike, with your experience, how has having purpose, having hope, um, being grateful, um, finding coping skills, which we're going to go into, helped you, and how's it helped your peers, and what have you seen, especially these last 6 months as we move forward with COVID-19?
Well, the thing about hope, a lot of people say, I feel hopeless. or I've given up and I'm just basically waiting, to basically move on or pass along to the next life. And I tell people one big thing you mentioned is having gratitude or being thankful for what we do have.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody believes in God or, in religion,
Mm-hmm.
but having something that they can turn to, be it a philosophy, be it religion, be it, helping others. If you have something that you feel that you can give of yourself as something as a greater purpose, then we can we could look at it and say, yeah, some things may be bad right now, or I feel really sad and upset. But if I strive to do something else, to find that greater purpose or find that why in your life, then it not only helps you be in a state of recovery and continue, but it helps others because you're showing them that things can press on and
Yeah.
things are better than what they think that it may be.
Yeah. One thing I always say a lot of times is that we're not islands. So when this whole COVID-19 started, whether it's a social distancing, stay away from me, Mike. But like really, it's like it's like social distancing doesn't mean we don't connect. It's fundamentally counterintuitive, especially in recovery. We need each other more than we like to admit sometimes. Um, we need one another in finding healing. Um, I feel being allowing. I feel it begins by allowing yourself time to process. Accept that life can be bleak. I remember this statement I've been saying lately a lot. Good news in life is only as good as the bad news was. So the good news after COVID is going to be really good. so so like so right now I know that a lot of people, not to minimize, there's a lot of heartache. People are separated. People are not able to see their loved ones, and I'm not. For me, I understand loss. I may not understand your loss, but I understand feeling uncertain. I have this huge cloud of uncertainty around me when it comes to what's going to happen the next day. I remember when I was struggling with mental health, I was like, will the medicine work today or not? And that leads me, Mike, to coping skills. We talk about this as facilitators a lot. And the reason is because everyone's not not one size fits all when it comes to mental health or recovery in general. So, Michael, can you share some coping skills that has helped you and why it's important today? And why is coping skills important in general, especially looking back and that we're still in the thick of it?
When I think about coping skill, the one thing I like to tell people is there's a distinction. There are positive coping skills and there are negative coping skills. And that's the first thing I like to bring to their attention because some people they suffer from substance abuse because they use it as a coping skill or
Mm-hmm.
what we like to call self-medicating. So
Mm-hmm.
some people they're told, "Oh, go have a drink and forget about it," or
Yeah.
take this pill and forget about it. And yes, it's true; those are coping skills, but they're not positive on us because they bring not only they could hurt our bodies and physical health, but they can also hurt our mental and emotional state as well. And some of the coping skills I like to share with people a lot are one, music.
Yes.
Everybody's they have a favorite genre of music, even if it's a sad or depressing or a
Mm-hmm.
screaming anger, but they find that they could connect and express their mood through music. Another big coping skills a lot of people have and I share with people is, having a pet or a support animal.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize how much pets help people in their life. They become part of the family, and
Mm-hmm.
if you can afford them or you're able to take care of them, They could be great ways of, finding a purpose besides yourself.
Yes.
Another thing I talk about is volunteering.
Yeah.
And the reason why I bring that up as the third coping skill is because if we're able to help or benefit others, that takes us out of our own self where we're not worried about why am I so miserable, or
Yeah.
what I call the woe is me, because you're not thinking about yourself at the moment. You're thinking about how you can help others, and that in turn
Mhm.
helps build your value or your self-esteem or your self-worth, and you're able to push on.
Yeah. You know, that's, it kind of leads me to this whole topic of healing versus cure. And of course, all of us with COVID-19 want a vaccine. We want this to be over with. But when I'm talking about cure, I'm talking about a quick fix. We talk about bad coping skills, we talk about quick fix. A lot of times this gets misinterpreted in our minds. And if we're not readily if we don't realize that it is a bad coping skill, if we're just making ourselves making excuses for ourselves, because we could talk ourselves into or out of things so easily, Mike. It's ridiculous. The fact that anyone does anything today, I used to not joke, but like, you know, it's very easy to just not do things versus do things, especially now. You can make so many excuses, and I'm not trying to say minimize the excuses, but it's not about finding the path of least resistance. A lot of healing comes with the pain, comes with the struggles. That's where we learn the most. Um, in the concept, on the context I'm emphasizing, healing implies that time must pass. Cure, unfortunately, at times promotes the ideal of a quick fix. From my experience, it's a counterintuitive in mental health recovery, personally. So, Mike, what you want to add to any of that? As
I think what people don't realize is, you know, with the quick fix notion, it's also a path that leads to self gratification. Like they want
Yeah.
something that'll gratify them right away.
Yes.
And if you take that quick self gratification, it may feel good in the moment, but in the
Hmm.
long run, it'll do you no good.
Yes.
And it also, with the path of least resistance, there's a reason why it's the path of least resistance, because it ends up in the end leading you nowhere.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about the matter of the quick fix versus, you know, going through the pain and the struggle, and really once you break through, then it's like when the storm breaks, the sun
Yeah.
comes out and shines, and you see that light at the end.
Yes. You know, Viktor Frankl's expressed it really nicely. He said when the Jews in his concentration camp that survived were the ones who had hope, had a notion, like we started talking about hope, had something to look forward to. You know, if we're all about what we don't have today, if we're always just we want quick fixes, there's no growth. And if we try to control every situation, Mike, not to feel pain, all we do is just like this quote says, the walls we build around us to keep sadness out also keeps out the joy. We can't control every situation. Loss is a real thing. I've lost people in my life. I'm sure a lot of people have, and I'm not, especially during this COVID-19. One thing about loss, whether it's life or however, loss comes in many different forms, it takes time to heal. There's no quick fix to that. If someone close to me have passed away, it's going to take plenty of time to heal that. It's going to take all the steps of grief, and it's gonna take a lot. But at the end, if you're taking positive, good coping skills like Mike is talking about versus bad ones, um, you can grow. You could grow and you can learn because we learn from our most bleakest moments. This one quote says, "Healing may not be so much about getting better as about letting go of everything that isn't you, all the expectation, all the beliefs, and becoming who you are." Rachel Naomi Remen. Um, there's a lot of unlearning to do, especially when I was in recovery. There was a lot of how you say self doubt. I had to. I used to say my parents were there. I know they are. I could not be where I'm at today without them, and I can never pay them back, and that's okay, Mike. That's
Mhm.
okay. There's plenty of people along this my trek through my mental health recovery that I can never pay back, but that's okay. That's why volunteering, like you're saying, is really helpful, especially when I started volunteering, especially in the church and stuff like that, and in other avenues. And NAMI now, it's wonderful to just help people because it takes you out of where you're at. Just like Mike, you said, takes you out of the muck you're in because we're just relational beings. We need to share. We can't stay in a box, and we're not islands. So, any thoughts on that, Mike?
One thing I like to tell people is don't look at where you've been, don't look to where you want to go. Look at what's in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I like that quote is because a lot of people they get stuck in the past. Like they may get stuck on someone who has wronged them or
Yeah.
something that is negative and they won't let go and it festers and it eats away at them. Or
Mm.
some people go the other extreme and look to the future all the time and have what I
Yeah.
like to call toxic positivity.
Yeah.
Because it's good to be positive, but it's bad to have toxic positivity where you think everything is positive. There is no bad. Because if you get in that mindset, that could just be as bad as thinking that everything is bad,
Yeah.
everything is bleak. You need that
Yeah.
happy balance. You can't, just like you said before, you can't experience the joys of life if you don't have some of the sadness to counteract that or show you what those joys actually mean to you.
Yeah. It's just like you can't build a wall to keep out sadness because the things that bring us the most joy, I'll tell you, at least from my experience, are the people, the close to us, the people close to
Mm.
us. We try to build a life, financially or whatever your situation is. Maybe you have a significant other, maybe you get married, maybe you don't, maybe you have kids, maybe you don't. Those are life decisions that you make. But the thing is, your family, your close friends, those are the ones that really make the joys in your life joyful. And some of the saddest points that people are experiencing, especially through COVID-19 these last 6 months, is loss. And it doesn't mean that I'm not immediately people are thinking about death, but sometimes it's loss of being able to see people the way they do normally,
Mhm.
being able to be face to face. I go to church in your same town in Palm Coast, and I miss going there. I just miss interacting with those people. It's funny. Like 6 months, it seems like so long. And then for us, you know, reflecting and looking forward, to next month in September, like I said, is Suicide Prevention Week and Suicide Awareness Day. I think it's international. It's September 10th. I think it is. I'll confirm that. I'll put it in the description. I'll add it to the video. But besides that, there's a lot of things. These things are important. I feel they're important today because a lot of people have to slow down. We talk about this in previous podcasts and live now live stream. But at the same time, I want to give you an opportunity, Michael, as we kind of wrap things up. Or I want you to share any last thoughts, anything you want to share with everyone listening, watching, whenever they are able to come. And I like to showcase people that I feel, because all of us play a part, Mike. Like, I know I can share my insight, may connect with certain people, but not everyone. There's people that you, Mike, um, connect with better than I do, and that's the point. So go ahead, Mike. Any last thoughts you want to close with?
There's this quote. It it was by anonymous, and I like it. It's called "Person of Influence," and it
Hmm.
says, "To be a person of influence is not about fame. It's not about fortune. It's not about prestige or glory, but
Hmm.
it's connecting in a positive way with people. And if you can touch somebody's life and help them, then you will create a legacy because
Hmm.
your name will forever live on."
Yeah.
And when I heard that quote, I thought about how, a lot of people, they're taught, you got to go to school to get a good job to make the money. So, you can have a lot of money or you can have enough money to be happy.
Hmm.
And another quote I like, because like you, Robert, I like quotes.
Hmm.
Money doesn't bring happiness. A lot of times it just rents a person's silence.
Yeah.
And when you think about that, some of the richest people in the world are not happy because they either don't have people to share that money and things with, because of all the things that they've done that could have been negative or bad,
Hmm.
or they're working all the time where they have no time for their family or friends.
Yeah.
And one last thing I like to say before I wrap it up, because I know,
Hmm.
people got things to do. Uh in NAMI, we have our principles of support. And our
Hmm.
last principle, which is our most important principle, is number 12. And that is, we will never give up
Never give
hope.
up hope. Yeah. Thank you, Mike. It's humbling to realize that how much we need each other. Like, and I say this in the sense that I know I am not an island. I can't be an island. I need people, and that's why I encourage those people, especially today, listening, watching, connect, connect with the people. Maybe you say, "Oh, I'm too busy," and maybe you are, but make time, be intentional, and connect with one another, because right now we're gonna need each other as we go through this COVID-19. Thank you, Mike, so much for agreeing to be on the live stream with us today. And thank you all for watching and listening. I just want to share with you one thing. Obviously, you're watching either from YouTube or Facebook, but if you are tomorrow, I've been starting to put my these videos, link them onto the website. And you can find them at www.reviveministriesfl.com/videos. And again, thank you, Mike. Thank you all for listening. I always leave you with a quote, and I just want to say goodbye from Revive Ministry Livestream. And I will leave you with this: the willingness to consider possibility requires a tolerance of uncertainty.